Hello and welcome to episode 12 of the Yarn Ambassador podcast. This is a slightly different episode. When is it ever a standard episode? This is a slightly different one because I have been working over December and January and February on a design, on a pattern. I can't really call it a design, but it is the Normal People sweater, which I'm wearing right now. This all came about because I was looking at a copy of the bookseller. I work in publishing and we have copies of the bookseller floating around, and I was reading about who was going to be the next big author of 2019, and one of the people they referenced was an author called Sally Rooney. I hadn't heard of her before and I didn't know any of her books, and she was coming out with a book called Normal People. But even though the book sounded brilliant, and I've subsequently read it and it is great, I was more interested in the press photo that she had in the bookseller, because it's her in this beautiful, slightly sloppy, slightly cropped, deep olive green jumper. It had drop sleeves, which I really like because I have big square shoulders and I like a drop sleeve. So what else to do? Went instantly on Ravelry to see if I could find something similar. And although there were lots of things similar with raglan shoulder decreases, there wasn't anything that quite matched what I was looking for. And one of my buzzwords for 2019 is about resilience and about kind of, if you don't find the solution first time round, keep working at it. And it's something that Jasmine of the Knitmore Girls talks about a lot as well. So I wasn't going to be put off by the fact that it wasn't on Ravelry. I thought, look, it looks super simple. I'll just have a go myself. So I did a kind of a mock-up prototype. I knew kind of the construction I wanted to do, which is incredibly simple. It was just knitting a tube up to the armholes, doing the front, doing the back, doing a collar, and picking up for the sleeves. So it really, which is why I'm not really calling it a design. There is nothing groundbreaking in this. It's something my granny would have just done without even thinking about. She would have just instinctively known and she would have got on and done it. I am one of those knitters who actually needs a bit more guidance in terms of, well, how many stitches to cast on and when do I start doing the neckline decreases and things like that. So did a prototype and it was pretty much the shape I was after, but wasn't terribly pleased with how the neckline was. And I'd done that with some Aran weight yarn that I'd had kind of kicking around forever. It was quite a rustic kind of Aran weight yarn. And again, the shape was what I wanted, but it didn't really have that drapey, cozy feeling that I was after, that Sally Rooney was really rocking in her press photo. So I had, out of the corner of my eye in Down Sheepy Lane's shop, seen that she had some toasty Aran. And I am not a patient knitter. I do like things to knit up quickly, and so I knew I was going to do this pattern in Aran, and the two just came together. Do you ever have those times where things just kind of come together without even thinking about it and you think, perfect, that is the perfect combination? And so that is what I did. I got on Debbie's Etsy shop straight away, Down Sheepy Lane, and bought as much of the Aran as I could, justifying it because I was doing research for a pattern, right? So I actually bought 7 skeins of what she calls her toasty Aran, which is 100% merino Aran weight yarn, and it's beautiful. And I bought the colour which is called Autumn Gold. Now in the end, I only ended up using 5 of the 7 skeins I bought, so I actually have two left over, and this is the yarn, and it's a beautiful rich gold mustardy with kind of flecks of a warm red, and oh my god, it's just super squishy. And so I made the first normal people sweater, and ta-da, this is what it is. So it's got this very slouchy roll neck. It's slightly cropped. I'm quite loving the slightly cropped jumpers at the moment. It's got super long sleeves, and it's quite kind of sloppy. It's got quite a lot of ease to it as well. So once I knitted up this, I was kind of like, that was it. That's what I was looking for. And I thought, well, I may as well write up what I've done and see if anybody else wants to share it and you know, create their own Sally Rooney jumper, which is hence why I've called the sweater the normal people sweater. That is the jumper that that is the book that Sally Rooney has just published, and I thought it was kind of matched nicely. There is nothing out of the ordinary about this jumper. It is a very normal people sweater, so that is how it got its name. So this is now published. I have to do massive kudos and thanks to tech editors who knew they were such geniuses. Maria has been my tech editor for this, Maria Samira. You might find her on, you will find her on Instagram as Maria Samira. And oh, she was just amazing. She was just so thorough, proper eye for detail. Because one of the hard things is that obviously I've made this the correct size for me, and it's got the drape and stuff that I like, but I wanted to make it as accessible to as many people as possible, and so I've graded it for different sizes as well. And you can choose to have it tight fitting, you can choose to have it super slouchy. It's really quite a flexible pattern. So Maria just did a fabulous job tech editing that, so thank you very much, Maria. And I never really appreciated till now test knitters. They are taking a total leap of faith, especially for somebody who's never put out a garment design before. And I had a bunch of lovely test knitters, some of whom I know, but some who I'd never met with before or spoken with before. So thank you so much for all of you who test knitted for me, or even just offered to. The turnaround time was very tight, so some people were like, actually I can't make it, but I was really touched by how many people were willing to give this unknown pattern writer a go. So thank you very much. And you can see their photos on Instagram if you look at the hashtag normal people sweater that they've been putting up as well. So I'm quite proud of it. It is very simple, and it's not rocket science, but for a first pattern, garment pattern, yeah, I'm quite pleased with it. And I also test knit it multiple times myself. So my favourite is obviously the Down Sheepy Lane Toasty Aran, and I've spoken with Debbie, and we've agreed that if somebody does want to buy a sweater quantity of the Toasty Aran, I'll throw in the pattern for free as well. And like I said, I only used 5 skeins out of the 7 I bought, which I was really pleased about, because I think when it's an Aran weight jumper, people tend to think, well, that's quite a big investment, because you know you need more balls and they're the same skeins, and you need and they're the same price as, you know, a sock weight yarn possibly, and that obviously goes a lot further. But yeah, it only took me 5 skeins for this, and this is the medium size with a slight crop. I've put in options like, honestly, you can make it as long as you like, you can make it as cropped as you like. It's very flexible. But one of the other, so I wanted to check out the other sizes to make sure that my grading wasn't just imaginary nonsense. So I also knit the large size as well. And actually, I went down a cheaper route for that, which is the James C. Brett Aztec Aran. So that's 90% acrylic with 10% alpaca, because I wanted something that might kind of recreate that drape as well. And it almost got it. But this was only £2.99 a ball from a lovely shop in Whitby, actually, that I discovered. And so you can make it kind of quite reasonably if splashing out on a very special hand-dyed yarn isn't possible. Which of course we're all supposed to be, you know, well, we're not all supposed to be watching our pennies, but it's the beginning of the year, and I know people have had a lot of resolutions to not spend enormous amounts on yarn. So that there is a kind of obviously cheaper option. It works with the shop commercial yarns just as well as it does with the hand-dyed yarns. But so Debbie has some of this for pre-order in her shop, and if you buy a sweaters quantity, then you will also get the pattern thrown in as well. And the pattern is available as a standalone pattern to download on Ravelry. Whew. That was a lot of stuff to say. The nice thing is, and so Debbie from Down Sheepy Lane has cast on one of these with her yarn as well, just to see if it works. Oh, I hope it does. But in a kind of reciprocal way, I have been test knitting a pattern for Debbie. She has designed this, and this is properly a design, right? This isn't just seeing someone else's jumper and copying it. Debbie has created this, she's called it the blacksmith cowl. It's done in fingering weight yarn, and I don't know if you can see, it's got these panels of little honeycomb cables. And along with the pattern, she directs you to a tutorial by Andrea Mowry of how to do cables, like one stitch cables front and back, without having to use a cable needle or faff around with kind of holding on to the back. And it is so clever. Totally recommend you look that up. And now this is perfect knitting for me to do in front of the TV. Doesn't need that much concentration. It's a super easy pattern. But it's having a lovely, lovely effect on it. I'm actually using Down Sheepy Lane yarn for this. This is her sock base, which is I think the Blue Face Leicester and nylon, and this is called Mudgeon, and I love it. She named this the blacksmith cowl because I think her granddad was a blacksmith, and she said that the little the cables remind her of like ironwork, lattice work. So it's lovely. It's a lovely kind of tribute to her granddad, and I hope I'm doing it justice. But I'm flying through it. It's going really, really fast, and actually it's quite nice to have a sock weight project on the needles because I've been doing so much work with Aaron. It's quite nice to do something just a little bit more kind of delicate, which is really nice. So I think that's been tech edited at the moment and should be publishing sometime soon, but I'm really enjoying it. So thank you very much, Debbie, for letting me test knit that. Other things that I've got on the go at the moment, having been like, well, wow, you know, when you put your mind to it, you can do a garment design or whatever. I was kind of like, well, maybe I can do more. And I have actually had in my head for a long while an idea of another knitted sweater that I haven't been able to find what I want on Ravelry again. And so essentially I'm going to try and give that a go. And I've even done a swatch for it. I swatched for this as well. I mean, I don't even recognise myself anymore. So I have done a swatch for this new pattern that I'm going to start working on. And this is a fingering weight yarn, and this is using Mr. B's yarn, and this is in the heathered colourway. It's turning out like quite blue I wonder if I can... It's this beautiful, deep, heathery purple. Anyway, I mean, what am I even showing? That it's a swatch. It's a swatch in the round. So that's something I'm going to be working on a bit over the next couple of months, but it's a fingering weight project, maybe some time with this one. So, but yeah, it's been really good fun. And so I hope you like the pattern, and let me know if you've got any feedback about it or if you've got any questions about it. I did want to give you lovely viewers, because you are a select and small group, so I will put in a 20% discount code on the screen so that you guys can get the jumper without basically paying the VAT on it, which Ravelry put in automatically. Other things that have been going on is that finally, after years of not bullying, politely suggesting to my sister that she put her project bag talents to wider use, she has actually finally set up a shop on Etsy. Now, my sister is a really good sewist. She's got that precision eye that I just don't have, and you can slightly fudge with knitting. But I want to show you the most recent thing that she's given me, which is this beautiful box bag. Can you see that? It's lovely. It's got these beautiful little birds on. It's these lovely muted blues, pastel colours. And apparently she said this one, I got this one because she said it wasn't good enough to go in the shop. I'm not quite sure why. To me it looks absolutely perfect. But it's really great, and this is the perfect size for a sock project or mittens or something like that. So she's given me that, which is so sweet. And I mean, I've been using my sister's project bags for years, but I was like her one and only recipient of them. But now she is on Etsy, so if you like the look of it, go and check her out. And then also, bless her, because I hadn't really done anything more than just be a normal sister, but bless her, she got me, as a thank you, a fade set from Pixie Yarns, which is a new to me dye. Didn't know Pixie Yarns before. I was following her on Instagram, but I never knit with any of her stuff. And this is a 4-colour fade set, and each of these is 50 grams. And they're beautiful. This is like a really inky, deep, tealy blue, which I absolutely love. And this is the same, but slightly more turquoisey, a little bit more open colours. Oh, I'm filming in a new place today because the living room is otherwise occupied. So I'm down in our basement kitchen, which is dark, and so maybe things aren't showing up as well. So let me know what you think about that. But yes, these are absolutely beautiful, and I would totally suggest that you check out Pixie Yarns. Beautiful stuff. So this one is called Pixie Beach, this one is called Barefoot, this one is called Selkie's Wish, which I like, and this one is called Doris. Beautiful. So thank you to my sister, and thank you to Pixie Yarn as well. You may have noticed I haven't actually quite done what I would normally do in a podcast, which is showcase the work of one independent yarn dyer. But I've showcased the work of an independent pattern writer. Does that work? So I'm sorry if it's been kind of blatantly like, look at the pattern I released, but I'm quite excited about it too. I also want to just flag and address here, there have been some really good conversations going on Ravelry about the lack of diversity and the lack of inclusion that has really plagued the knitting community, but hasn't really been spoken about until now, and for many of us we weren't really aware of the depths of it. So it's been a really steep learning curve, and I have to thank the Instagram folks who have pushed it to the fore and not let the conversation die out and not let us just go back to knitting and the trouble-free world, because these things exist and they need to be spoken about, and we need to do what we can to make sure that our knitting community is as diverse and inclusive as the world we want to live in. So I am all for it, and I have come across some brilliant people, makers, dyers, who I hadn't had in my newsfeed before, and I'm sad I hadn't had them in my newsfeed before, but I'm really pleased I've got them there now, and that I've met and come across all sorts of people. So thank you to all those who are keeping that conversation going. I want to keep that conversation going, and as such I am taking part in the solidarityswap, #solidarityswap, which has been set up to showcase designers and independent yarn dyers who are from the Black, Indigenous, people of colour group, or marginalised groups who don't perhaps get as much of a voice as they should do. So go and have a look at all the conversations. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then look up Sue Krita and Tyne Swedish and Jeanette Sloan, who have really been Colour of Mustard is another one as well. So do get involved with that. Here at Yarn Ambassador, I am very supportive of trying to make sure that we have an open, fair and inclusive knitting community. All right then, I'll hope to see you next time with perhaps a return to a podcast which does showcase independent yarn dyers. And if you know of any independent yarn dyers who you think need to be shouted about, have their profile raised, then do let me know. I'm always on the lookout for new to me dyers. So thank you very much, and until next time, ta-ra, bye.